The first thing I'm going to plan for is healthcare and retirement, both in terms of the costs and who I'm going to use as an insurer. So it's worth noting and planning for that average annual out of pocket expenses are $6,600 a year in retirement. And that's even if you're on Medicare. Now, that 6,600 comes from a combination of your monthly premiums, your annual deductible, co-insurance, and co-pays. But it's a significant price because that's per person. Second thing I'm going to plan for is who I'm using as insurer. I can either use Original Medicare, where the government's my insurer, or I can use Medicare Advantage, where I'm actually using a private insurer and the cost of the insurance is being subsidized by the government. Now, if I'm nearing retirement, I'm going to take a good hard look at using Original Medicare first. Here's why. Here's three reasons why. The first, it's going to give me more freedom in terms of choosing my healthcare provider, both the doctor I'm using and the hospital that I'm using. Most providers all accept Medicare, and so I can go anywhere in the nation and get the healthcare that I want. It's going to keep the cost under control. Second reason is I'm going to have a lower probability of being denied coverage if I actually need care. The third reason, I'm not going to need to get pre-approval for healthcare. So if I'm on Medicare Advantage and I'm using a private insurer, oftentimes I need to ask permission from my insurer to get the healthcare I need, and they don't always say yes. So with Original Medicare, I don't need to seek pre-approval, pre-authorization. Second thing I'm going to do is create a financial plan. I don't mean a budget here. A financial plan is a visualization of my financial future. It takes into account my income, assets, expenses, and shows me what trajectory I'm on for the future. Here's why it's important. It can answer some critical questions like, how soon can I safely retire? How much can I spend without risking running out of money? And when should I take Social Security? So once you have a financial plan, it really acts as like a foundation for basing future decisions off of, whether it's, can we afford this summer home or the summer rental? Can we afford to pay for our grandkids' education? Things like that. It does not need to be complicated to get a financial plan. Right now, you can get a plan from websites like Fidelity or Schwab or even freefinancialplan.com. And by the way, I'm happy to create a free financial plan for you, especially if you're nearing or in retirement. Just comment in the comment section below, and I will have a real conversation with you, give you a real plan, and address some of those questions, whether it's how much you can spend or how soon you can safely retire. The third thing I'm going to do is discuss long-term care with my spouse or family. So a long-term care event is simply not being able to do 2 of the 7 activities of daily living. Now, why is that relevant? Well, once I hit the age of 65, I have a 70% probability of having a long-term care event at some point in my life. Now, there's a huge spectrum for what that care is actually going to look like and how much it's going to cost, ranging from I just need some part-time help around the house, whether it's laundry and meal prep, to I'm moving into an assisted living facility, or I need 24/7 care and I'm actually now in a nursing home. It's super important to think about and talk with your spouse on, hey, if either of us have a long-term care event, who's going to take care of us and how much is it going to cost? An event like this can be included, it should be included in your financial plan because it actually, given the expense of it, it's a real factor in terms of determining how soon you can retire and how much you can spend. The next thing I'm going to do is make my portfolio retirement ready. And the way to do that is selecting a retirement income strategy that I can use to convert my investments into cash that I can actually spend in my retirement. So there's a couple different primary options we can use. One is an income-only approach, and the other is a total return approach for income. Let me describe the income approach. This just means that when I'm setting up my portfolio for retirement, I'm going to focus on investments that maximize the amount of income I'm receiving, whether it's interest from bonds or dividends from stocks. That's not a wrong way to go about it, but what I found is it often creates unnecessary taxes and doesn't give me the best return over time that I could otherwise get. The second approach is using total return. So this is the idea of owning a portfolio that has both income and price appreciation. The way to do this is to divide your portfolio into two buckets. The first bucket is comprised of stable investments like cash and bonds, and you're going to use that to actually draw every year to fund your expenses. The second bucket, second part of your portfolio, is comprised of growth investments that are designed to appreciate in value over time. And the idea is, as you're drawing money from the stable component, you're replacing it with profits that you've made from the growth side. Doing that can both minimize your tax bill and give you more income, better total return in retirement. The fifth thing I'm going to do is create a plan for taxes in retirement. So if I'm nearing retirement, I likely have the most money I've ever had in my life. And with having more money comes more opportunity for paying taxes. People often think that CPAs are the best way to address this, but the way CPAs generally operate is looking in the rearview mirror about, okay, what happened last year and here's how we can minimize your tax. What I would recommend doing is having a forward-looking strategy, whether you're working with a professional or not, about, okay, given my situation, how can I minimize my future tax bill? I'm going to give you two primary ways to go about this. The first is called asset location. This is the idea of just being clever about where we place our different investment types, like stocks, bonds, real estate, across our different account types, whether it's traditional retirement account like 401k or Roth IRA or a taxable brokerage account. If you're clever about that, you can save thousands of dollars in taxes every year. I made an entire video on this that you can click on right here. The next option is addressing your spending order in retirement. And this is the idea that maybe we're coming into retirement with a few different account types, like an IRA, a Roth IRA, and a brokerage account. Well, depending on how we pull that money in retirement, it's going to make a big difference for our tax bill over time. So you could draw on one account, then another, or you can do a combination of accounts. And what I found is having a combination approach can often save you thousands of dollars in taxes. And a financial plan can also give you some math-based answers on which strategy to choose. The last thing I'm doing if I'm nearing retirement is updating my estate plan. Here's why. I'm nearing retirement, I'm not getting any younger, and now's a great time while I'm thinking clearly and I still have the opportunity to communicate all my wishes with any person or any entity that's involved in implementing my estate plan. I'm going to give you a few concrete things you can focus on. One is making sure that all of your assets have a beneficiary listed. So whether it's your IRA, brokerage account, or even your home, it's super important to have a beneficiary listed directly on that asset. What it does is it helps you avoid probate, basically avoid unnecessary fees, and make sure that your beneficiary actually gets the assets that you want them to get in a timely fashion. Okay, the second part of updating my estate plan is just having a durable power of attorney. So I want to make sure that even if I become incapacitated at some point, whether it's because I got hit on the head or I've got Alzheimer's, that someone's going to be able to make financial decisions for me, whether it's paying bills or updating, moving money around, whatever the case may be. A durable power of attorney is someone who can continue doing that even if I'm incapacitated. Lastly, I want to make sure that I have a healthcare directive. So these are just written instructions so that someone knows if I become injured or incapacitated, how I want to be treated in terms of healthcare decisions. So a healthcare directive just spells out, hey, if this happens, here's the action I want to take. Maybe it's a do not resuscitate or whatever the case may be. Getting an estate plan does not need to be complicated. You can actually get a free one from a website called freewill.com. This is a public benefit corporation that's just designed to make getting an estate plan easy and affordable. So you can create a plan in about 20 minutes and it will check all the basic boxes, including getting a will. The last thing I would do in terms of creating my estate plan is just communicate my intentions with the folks who are going to be involved with implementing it. If I select an executor, someone who's going to administer my assets after I pass, I want to actually tell that person ahead of time what their involvement will be and see if they're okay with implementing it. What you want to avoid here is surprising someone with a responsibility that they're just either unwilling to handle, or they just don't have the capacity for handling. If you take care of all 6 of these options, I'm confident you're going to have a great start to your retirement. Lastly, I'm Jonathan Bird. I'm the founder of Farnam Financial. We help clients who are either near retirement or in it. If you're curious about how we can help you, you're welcome to visit us at our website, farnamfinancial.com. Thanks.